taking a look at my Audi, the RS5. Just had his MOT, but apparently the bloke said it almost failed due to brake binding. The fronts are binding, but not excessively. Okay, so today going to take a little look, see what's going on, see if I can fix it. I'm not a mechanic, but I'll give it a go. First things first, we need to jack the car up with the wheel still on, and then just see how easy the wheel turns by hand. So the wheel is now off the ground, so I'm going to try putting the car into neutral. There we are, neutral. Yeah, that's quite stiff. But it does go round. It's just now that is quite stiff. So I can see why he was complaining about that on MOT. Oh. Yeah. So I've taken off all 5 of these bolt caps. Obviously there is a locking wheel nut right there, and I have no idea where that is. So bear with me. Okay, we're in luck. It was in here, right down there where that hole is. Very sneaky little Germans, aren't they? But here is the massive brake caliper. It appears to have like 4 brake pads and 8 pistons, which is a bit excessive, isn't it? Let's be honest. This is now a new day, 10 AM on Sunday. I've done some research last night. Turns out these are the exact same brakes as an Audi R8, which I was a bit surprised about. But anyway, I've taken out this bottom pin here, one at the top, and there was one here. I tapped it out this way, and now the pads should come out. You see there's little tabs at the top and bottom. I'm going to pull very hard on those backwards to try to free up the piston, and then take the pad out. Let's see how it goes. So I managed to free up the pads a little bit, but it's still not coming out. So I'm going to just take the cap off the brake fluid reservoir, because every little helps, right? That should alleviate some pressure in the system. I don't know how much, but that's what people say on the internet, who knows. I need to remember to do this back up. Hopefully I do. Okay. Got a very small gap in there, bottom right. But I can't seem to push it out. Oh, actually, it's a bit wiggly. But how do I get it out? So this pad here is like completely away on this side, but I can't quite push it through. Something this side here is not sliding on this pin. This pin here, there's too much friction, I think, because it's off the pad, it's off the piston. There's a gap there, but I don't think it's allowed, or it's not able to slide on this black pin. So this part of the pad is just stuck to the disc. So that might need some lubrication to allow that pad to slip, or all four of the pads to slip. I managed to tap out the pad with a bit of wood and a hammer. Now, can you see this part where that pin was? This part is looking quite rusty. I reckon it was quite seized there. So an update on the situation. As you can see, I have removed two of the right pads. The left side I cannot really get out, so the right side was easier for me because I could put a bit of wood here and hammer the pads out. Even though they were free in the caliper, they were wobbly, they were loose, but I couldn't get them out because I think they were slightly seized on these posts here. These posts are a bit corroded, and the brake pad had corroded to the post. Anyway, a bit of wood and a hammer sorted that out. But on the left side, I can't get any sort of wood in there because the disc's in the way. So what I am resorting to is taking the caliper off. Anyway, I've just bought a 1/2 inch drive to 10mm hex so I can use this massive breaker bar, because they are quite stiff, quite tight on there. Let's see how it goes. So I've cracked off the bottom one already. Let's crack off the top one, see how stiff it is. Right. Oh, that is freaking tight. What the fuck? The bottom one, easy. Came off very easy. Top one, here we go. Make sure it's on there nice and square and tight. Do not want to round this bolt. If I round this bolt, RIP pretty much. Bankruptcy, RIP, death, cemeteries. Yeah. Nah, that's so tight. Okay, it's moving. Ooh. Thank God for that. It didn't snap. Well, it's not snapped yet. Who knows what can happen? Oh, come to help me? Didn't think so. So, some progress has been made. The caliper is off. Those two bolts came out okay. Once I had that massive, there is that massive breaker bar on it. So, I have zip tied one part of it and found like a freaking box pyramid for the other part. So it's balancing there. Okay, so these two pads are still stuck in there. I had a little go at getting them out with my fingers, but they aren't really coming out. So I lightly tapped it with a hammer, a steel hammer, metal hammer, which, yeah, I think I need to get a rubber mallet, but I haven't got one, so is what it is. So here's all four pads, and the pins and the plate. These four pads, £250. Wow. So that's £250 for one front wheel. The issue I found is this little notch here, the little locating pin which keeps the pad from going too far forward in the caliper, and it looks very corroded around here. So I don't know why that's happened. Maybe there's meant to be some sort of lubrication, oil, grease, whatever on this particular pin. Also, these side pieces here and here, they were quite corroded on most of them as well. Oh, look at this one. Like that one needs a bit of tidying up. Anyway, so what I'm going to do now is wire brush all of this stuff. So now I've cleaned up all of the brake pads. Let's go and clean up the caliper, those pins I talked about. These pins here, and also the sliding surfaces back here and up here. Those should and this part in the middle. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 like sliding surfaces that need to be cleaned up. So I've wire brushed all 4 of those little notches, little pegs, and I've wire brushed these like mating sliding surfaces as well. I'm just going to give it a blast of brake cleaner. The last thing I want to do is try to extend like some of the pistons. I want to see if the piston sidewalls are corroded, and the way to do that I think is to depress the brakes, but very carefully. Right, so that did move a little bit, yeah. Alright, do a tiny bit more.
All the way down?
No, like breathe on it, like a tiniest bit. So some of them have moved and some haven't. Okay, a bit more. So I've managed to sort of extend all 8 of these pistons. Not very far, because I don't know how far they go and whether they'll just fall out. Who knows? But now I need to work out a way to sort of lube up and clean. So I was thinking about using some sort of lubricant underneath the seal, the piston seals, but I did some reading and stuff like WD-40 actually breaks down rubber. Rubber needs to be slightly moist, water. So using WD on rubber will break down the rubber, will remove the water and break it down. So I'm not using WD. Silicone grease, don't use that either because it can contaminate the brake fluid. So the only thing to use is brake fluid. But anyway, mine actually look okay. I think my issue was with the brake pads not being lubed up. So I'm going to completely avoid touching the pistons and the seals because I don't want to damage them, and they look okay. So what I've done now is I extended the pistons and I just sprayed some brake cleaner behind each piston. I didn't fancy, doing anything with the seals or the pistons themselves. So now I'm going to put everything back together. That's the caliper back on. The 2 bolts went in easy enough. Now let's see what they need to be torqued to. So I've just checked on the internet. It's 110 Newton meters for these 2 bolts that hold the caliper onto the bracket. Okay, lubricate this middle part and these 2 top and bottom parts. So I found those parts were the issues. So just do a little dab. How are we going to do this? Just a little dab. Oh yeah. A little dab. And a little dab. Rub it on. So what I've done is I have put copper slip on all 8 of these slipping surfaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. and all 4 of the little pins, just to make sure the pads can slip easier when you're off the brakes or even on the brakes. Okay, so all 4 pads are back in. So 3 of them went in quite easily, but this one here did not go in well at all. What I noticed was this part here, there's a slight the metal like shim or metal slider on the bottom. I noticed it was raised up slightly by about 1mm. This one here was always flat, nice and flat. This one was raised slightly, so we couldn't get the pad in very well. Very tricky to get it in. So what I did was take out this screw here, lift up this metal piece, and there's a hell of a lot of corrosion. So I scraped off a lot of the corrosion with my screwdriver, and now it's nice and flat, and the pad went back in smoothly. So I'm quite happy with how each one of the pads went in. Everything is now back where it should be, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's all nicely lubed up. The pads seem to be quite free in there. So now we're going to go for a test drive. I'm going to come back, jack it up again, and for the last time put it in neutral and spin the wheel. Now if it's good after that, then it's fixed. So now let's see how easy it is to turn the wheel. Oh wow. Whoa. Amazing. That's completely free. That's fixed. Bolsh.